a master fire walking instructor and a trainer, master NLP practitioner, a fearologist, and a student of compassionate inquiry. He has been coaching individuals, teams, and communities for over a decade with clients spread across the globe. He helps people build trust, face their fears, collaborate as a team, boost confidence, and challenging limiting beliefs by conducting several activities like fire walking, glass walking, board breaking, and rebar bending. I have with me master instructor, trainer, and coach Stephen Brown. So, are you ready to get coached? I welcome you, Stephen, to our show with top coaches across the globe. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for
Samira.
being here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, how is it going during this time? Are you getting a lot of time to spend with the family? And because you are a master firewalking instructor, obviously that part is kind of slow at the moment. But how are you keeping yourself busy?
Keeping myself, I'm actually trying to stop learning so much because there seems like there's so many courses are available at the minute, so it can be a little bit overwhelming. So I've slowed down on that a little bit. But yeah, for me, like a lot of my work is connection with people. So I'm not working at the minute. I'm doing behind the scenes work, doing a bit of work on my websites and stuff, and just spending time at home with the family, cooking, and definitely cooking more. I'm the chef of the house recently, so and yeah, just lots of different things. Very different world at the moment that we're living in.
Okay, that's wonderful. I think most of us are in that space that we are, split between home job, the homework, the home chores, and then a little bit of learning because we're all coaches, and then a little bit of practice, something else. So, tell me something. How has your journey been in the last 10 years? How have you transformed as a coach and as a trainer?
Well, it's actually, and this is giving my age away a little bit, I suppose. It actually starts way before 10 years. I had studied at school very much with the view that I was going to study law. But when it came to choosing a university, I decided, no, actually, I don't want to study law. I want to teach people how to canoe and kayak and rock climb and things like that. So
adventure sport.
Yeah, adventure sports. Okay. So I then actually started to train in those activities. Within a couple of years, I was at a level where I was training people to be instructors, how to be coaches in different activities. So I suppose I've been coaching for well over 20 years. It's just the area of coaching has changed significantly in the last 10 years, where I don't do those sorts of activities very much anymore. It is more focused now on the fire walking and glass walking, all those activities that you mentioned, which are perceived as extremely risky activities. But it's not about the activities. It's actually about the learning of the people that engage with them. So it's kind of just been a natural progression for me, as opposed to this is what I'm going to be. It's all just what the footsteps. I'm always one of those people who is not really, this is definitely where I'm going and this is what I'm going to do. Things just fall ahead of me and I just trust the process and go where my heart feels right about stuff, and it works for me.
Of course. So because you were always inclined towards adventure sport, was that the main reason to pick up something like fire walking, glass walking, which are equally riskier and adventurous? Was that the reason, or did it naturally happen to you?
Well, a lot of the work that I had done had been in corporates and with young people at risk, community groups, and I reached a stage where I wanted to work for myself. Mm-hmm. And whenever I did that, there was a guy running a fire walk in Belfast, and it was aimed at entrepreneurs, and I had just started my business. And so I went along to it, and I always say this to people: you never forget the first time you firewalk. And I still remember the 3 times I walked over the fire that night. I don't recall what the guy said, but I remember what I felt.
Yeah.
And whenever I did that, it was, I just knew at that stage that's something I would like to be able to offer to people. It took a few years before I did go and get trained, but I just knew there was something deeper at that came through the firewalk than any of the other activities that I had worked with before.
Mhm. So tell me, when you conduct a firewalk, okay, uh, does it really help people to get rid of their fears? I mean, is it really that deep that it helps people to get rid of the fears they have in their subconscious
Yeah, a lot of it depends on the person and what they're there for. I've certainly worked with lots of people where they've come with that intention. I really want to get to know myself on a deeper level and deal with my fears. And for those people, absolutely, it will help them. And I get feedback all the time. And sometimes I get feedback a year or two later.
mind?
Um, but there are other people that come to firewalks and they come to the firewalk just for the buzz. They're
Yeah,
not really interested in sort of the personal growth. Personal growth comes part and package, part and parcel of it, regardless of what your intention is. But if your intention there is to learn and to grow and to work with your fears, then that's what you'll get.
yeah. So what you're saying is that if somebody comes with the right intention that I want to get rid of, a baggage or a fear or a phobia, then this works very well. However, if people just come and want to walk for fun, it may or may not help them in that area. However, the outcome or the byproduct of walking on fire is your personal development at some level or the
Yeah, yeah. If you turn up and your intention is just to get a photograph for Instagram, that's what you'll get.
other. So
you, so
that's right.
um but they'll still get more out of it, because it's about the connection. There's that connection to self, and there's the connection to the community of people that are there at the firewalk. People turn up to firewalks and they walk away with new friends that they've just met that night. So it's not just the self that people are working on. It
Yeah.
opens their mind a bit more.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's fearless. You know,
Yeah,
after you've crossed the fire bed, right? So it
yeah,
can be fearful when you're starting out, but as you cross it, you actually become fearless. So it
yeah,
does have an impact on your mind and body.
yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about compassionate inquiry. What does it mean? What are you studying?
Yeah, so I've been. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with Dr. Gabor Mate, who's a Canadian doctor, and he has an approach to counselling and coaching called compassionate inquiry.
Mhm.
And so it's really a way of people being able to work on themselves with somebody to assist them working on themselves. A lot of his work has been to do with trauma and addictions, but uh, if you go beyond that, and break it all down, we all have patterns in our lives, and sometimes, a lot of the time, these are unconscious patterns that we're not even aware of, and through compassion inquiry, we can become aware of them. We can understand where they're coming from, and then we can work on changing those. So it's really on a one to one level working with people, and I suppose it's a bit more about accepting of self.
So is it more of counseling or coaching or a combination?
It can be used in both settings. Body work practitioners are using it as well. Yoga instructors, so it can be used. It's really just an approach.
Okay.
As But it's been, I have found it to be super super effective, and even just in my own discovery of who I am. You know, I'm adopted from birth. Is I don't know if I've said that to you before. You know, and I have done a lot of work over the years around that area. But it was only during the year of studying with Gabor where I was actually able to say it's not my fault, you know, and that was a very tearful moment for me, and it was not something that I would have thought, you know, on a conscious level. I was, of course, it's not my fault, but actually, what I'd come to realize that on a deeper level, the child in me had taken on that responsibility. So it was a huge healing process for me, and it's something which I'm quite passionate now about helping people with, you know.
Wow. So, if you had to define what personal development means to you, right? What is personal development to you? What are those few elements that come under personal development? What are the elements that people have to look at?
Wow, that's a big question. Um, so for me, personal development is, I suppose, if you think about a bit of Maslow's theory, you know, it's about self actualization. You know, it's being who we really are, and I think that actually means stripping back from who we think we are, and that's quite a process. I think true personal development is work, you know, and you can have lots of memes and good quotes about stuff, but they don't really mean much unless you actually do the work on yourself. And that's where coaching, counseling, some sort of therapies are all very useful for people, but there's no one way. What's right for you will not be right for me, and so on. And people need to experiment and see what works for them. But of course, you know, personal development on a deep level means it means maybe uncovering hard truths about yourself. It
Yeah.
can be emotional. It can be tough. Um, and yes, there's still the other level of personal development, which is, you know, learning and education and pushing your limits. And but it's all work, no matter what way you look at it.
Absolutely. So, personal development is all about, very rightly said by you, that personal development is about knowing who you are, discovering who you are, maybe discovering your gifts that you have, and in the whole process, what you become, right? And when you are developing every single day, with every new program that you take, with every new learning that you have, you become some person. You have more realization, you have more awareness, and you know who you are. And this is what personal development is. And this is not a destination, right? This is a journey.
Yeah, it's like it's such a falsehood to think that you know where you're going to end up. You know, it's like I suppose that's a little bit why I said earlier on. You know, I don't really plan too far in advance. You know, I prefer to be open to what comes along, and it gives me peace of mind anyway. That way, you have this goal of who you think that you might want to be. Well, that might not be where your path takes you. And then what do you have then? You have this grief or upset that you're not where you think that you should be, but when in reality you're exactly where you're meant to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite a philosophical subject, really.
I know it is, and there's a very profound thing that I read somewhere which says that if you are unhappy about something in life, if you're unhappy about something in life, then something needs to change, either internally or externally.
Yeah.
Right. So you have more influence on internally, and that's where we should focus on, and that's the journey of personal development, right?
And I think that's been, for some people, COVID-19 might have been a great opportunity for people to get that chance to pay more attention to what's going on internally. I'm not saying that has definitely not been the case for everyone on the planet. It's been a very tough time for a lot of people, but certainly in my circles, I know people that have done good work about themselves, and changed their lifestyle and slowed down a bit and
Sure.
going back to that thing that I think is very important, connection. It's connection with self and connection with others, and people that are at home with their families more than what they would normally be, then that's a connection that for me, that I am certainly grateful for.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all of that. I'm going to not leave you here because I want 3 great ideas that you can share with our audience, how they can take those ideas and make their lives better.
Well, one of the things that I think is I'm going to give it away that you give me a bit of a pre-warning about this. And what can it be? And actually, so I did think about that. And one of the things is self-care. I think it's very, very important for people to have some sort of daily practice of self-care. And I say daily, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to do it every day. And it also doesn't have to be something very long. One of the things that I practice, not so much recently when I haven't been able to drive, but usually when I'm driving and I come to a set of traffic lights, I take a very deep, conscious breath. And that's very, very helpful. And I think there are lots of self-care things that people can just put into their lives and make it a practice. I think it's making it a practice is the important part. Another thing is ask for help. None of us know everything. We sometimes think we know everything. Sometimes we try to solve everything ourselves. But you know what? People like helping each other. And if you ask for help from somebody and they don't give you help, that's fine. You've probably found the one person that won't. Just go and ask the next person because they will. That's human nature is to help each other. And then the other, which I've alluded to already, is listen to your heart. It's like follow your heart. But following your heart sometimes isn't that easy. But I think before you even think about following your heart, you need to listen to your heart. It's listen to your heart, listen to your gut, get out of your head for a little while. The body's wiser than we give it credit for. I think we think these minds of ours know everything, but they don't. So that's
practice self-care daily.
Yeah.
Be ready and be willing to ask for help.
Yeah.
And listen to your heart. I think that's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
And all the 3 trips are great. Sometimes we just miss doing these things because we are so busy being busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
These things get ignored. And I hope that all our audience who's watching this video will take these valuable tips and utilize in their lives to make their lives better. I take this opportunity to thank you so much, Stephen, to be on the show and for giving us so much insight into what you do and how firewalking can, have a profound impact on people who take up this activity. And I'm sure we'll get another opportunity to talk more about a few other activities that you do. And I'm so grateful that you were on this show. Thank you so much. Enjoy your Saturday, the rest of your day, and give my regards to your family.
Brilliant. Thank you, Samira. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.